Yeah. Yeah, it's totally working. Woo! Three minutes, we'll get started. Guess I'm going to close this and trust that it's working. Just while we're getting ready to get started, I want to play some classic clip from Jerry Maguire. That's right. Today is the Show Me the Money episode. Oh, this is probably going to get me knocked off YouTube. But it's on YouTube. You seen this? Jerry Maguire? Oh, it's good.
Is it Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, hold on. Why can't I get more volume here? Come on. Oh, that's more. That's more like it.
I remember that.
It's so good. It's the first time I've seen Cuba Gooding Jr. I've never seen him in anything before that. Oh man, so good. Okay, so that is our intro. That is what we are about today, okay? Because up to now, we figured out how to get the number of people who are pledging to our crowdfunding thing, and that's pretty nice. That was pretty much the main thing we accomplished in the last class. Today, we're going to move on to figuring out how much money each person has pledged, and then how much money has been contributed to this project altogether. So to do it, we're going to do it in two steps. We're first going to tackle the one where we figure out how much money that a certain person has pledged. Because if you look in your data, you'll see that that can be a variable number, right? We've got all these pledges, each of them have a date and an amount. Now we're already able to kind of do that a little bit because our backer level is able to tell what level the person should be at. So it needs that information. So we've got some hints there on how we're going to make that happen. Now, once we have that working, we'll need something that can go and do that same function for all the people, however many there are, okay? So this could seem like quite a lot, but this is the kind of thing that a loop is perfect for. And it runs super, super fast. We'll never really see no matter how many people are in here, we won't really see the difference in terms of speed when it does this calculation, especially the way we're going to do it, because we're going to use something special called reduce, an array.reduce. So when we talk about loops, when I say loop, usually the first thing people think about is that for loop, right? Where we say for in, and we use some variable. We say I equals 0, while I is less than blah, 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 I plus plus. So we've done that a bunch of times now, right? And that's probably like the oldest type of iteration that we can do. But there's some better ones now. So for each, yes, exactly, we're going to use that. And we're going to use that along with Object.keys. And then we're going to get into this Array.reduce. Now, we looked at that one time, but it was towards the end of class. We didn't have too much time to do it. So we'll dive into that a little bit deeper and see how that works. It's super, super fast, very powerful way of working through an array to get one specific result that you're looking for. That type of iteration has become more and more important as we are now in, the age of big data, as they call it, right? Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what that term means or why that term has come about. Anyone has an idea what I mean when I say like big data?
It's more about data analytics, like a lot of information. Because there's so much information out there right now.
Right.
So
That's it.
There's a way of analyzing it and
Yeah.
structuring the code.
Exactly. I mean, it sounds simplistic, but the data is literally big. Now, the reason why it's gotten so big is because typically now organizations and companies, they take the position that the more data they can get, the better, right? So I showed you very, very briefly Firebase and how Firebase's data is set up basically like a big JSON object. JSON has enabled big data because you've seen yourself, you can put anything you want to in there. All it needs is a key and a value. So if you think about a person who has a mobile phone and they've been with, say, TELUS, and then they switch to Rogers, those two companies are basically going to be gathering the same kind of data about their usage, but the keys they store it under and the structure they store it under might be different. Now imagine if you're someone who's from, I don't know, who else is there? There's Rogers, TELUS, Bell. Say you're from Bell, and you need to set something up where this person's service can stay nice and uninterrupted and they'll still see how much they've used and so forth if they come over to Bell. That's a big data problem, right? Because you have to go through this data from different sources that may be formatted slightly differently and come out with a result. That's a very typical big data problem. So this is why things like map and reduce have become really popular for use in iteration compared to just doing this same old for in loop that we've done again and again. So we're gonna do a little reduce today. And that reduce is going to give us the total money of all of the pledges. And so now you see why I went to Jerry Maguire from the beginning. Show me the money. I named the functions differently, but we're basically saying show me the money at this point. Okay, so just before we dive into that, let's do a couple of announcements. First things first, I want to unveil for you the shiny URL here, leafletlearning.com/alpha. I'm going to get you to bring that up because that is where this tool is now being housed. Leafletlearning.com. So I've moved it. I took the code, I refactored it, cleaned it up a bit, added new features, and moved it over to a domain name, leafletlearning.com/alpha. So last week, we used this to submit the pens that you're working on from the start of class. And we'll basically be doing that from now on. So I've put this at a permanent URL. So let me log out for a second here and just sort of walk you through some of the features. Yeah, so it'll be the same email address and password that you used when you registered in the last class. All right? So punch it in there. Now if you get the password wrong, I've got a little bit more validation in here. So here's me, Timbot. Right here, Leaflet Learning. Here, let me make it big so people can see it with good old Notepad. Yeah. So head on over there, and you should see the login prompt coming up. And you'll be able to log in with your same email address and password that you used last class. And I've got a whole bunch of new features in here that I kind of want to walk you through a little bit. So let me send this out to you on Basecamp as well. Yeah, baby. See? Yeah, yeah. So that's one of the features that I've added in.
I just noticed the messages now, Tim.
Oh, okay, okay.
Feedback on what-
Yeah. So we're going to talk about scheduling and how we can use this best and everything.
Because I didn't receive a notification. That's why.
Yeah, me too. Like
From Basecamp?
Yeah.
Like an email, you mean?
Yeah, and a notification. Okay, hey, somebody responded to your.
Okay, fair enough. So let's get our plan together here. So let me log in as well.
Maybe I overlooked it.
Okay, so first thing I'll point out, guys. Everybody looking at Timmer? Watch the finger. Bam. Okay, so now I have a forgot password option because I figured that might come up. So if you click that, it'll send an email to whatever email you've got up here with a link that'll allow you to change your password. So that's pretty nice. So let me go ahead and log in. Now I'll show you one thing, one additional thing that I've fixed up here is, let's say I put in the wrong email address. So I forgot the M on the end, for instance. When I go to log in, it's going to let me know, hey, you're not registered. Are you sure this is your email address, right? Because that's very easy to make a typo like that. And last week, it would have basically just made a new user with that email address, and then that's confusing, right? So that's working more like you would expect. And if I hit the OK, the little message is going to say, just reiterate, this isn't found. Do you want to register with that? If you do that, you're basically making a second account. So that's probably not what you want to do. You've probably just got a typo in the email address. So I'll click this to say, nope, I'm already registered, which gets me back here. I've fixed this up. And boom, I log in. So the first thing I'll point out is that you've got two options here now, Lab 5 and Lab 6. So I did this kind of just cheesy and fast because I'm trying to get it in there before the next class, basically. I'll probably be switching that to like a little drop-down selector. But for now, that will get you between Lab 5 and Lab 6. Now, because I'm logged in, you're seeing what the instructors see. So because I'm the instructor, for instance, on my Lab 6 here, which we're about to start today, I don't see anything yet, but as people start submitting their pens for today, you'll see them boom, 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 appearing in here in real time. And oh, 2 people did it already. Nice, nice. Some folks are on the ball. So that'll keep updating in real time. And then if I click on the Lab 5, you should see, now maybe you guys can help me debug this for a second here. You should see yourself at the top of the list here. Do you see that? Okay, and you should see an input field to put your pen if you haven't done it yet. You see that? Oh, yes. This is making me super happy. So these are all like little usability things that we've been rolling in. Now for me, if you're wondering how I'm using this on the other side, the filter automatically puts the students that I'm mentoring for this lesson at the top for me. Oh, and need to just put in a thing, a URL. So boom, it checks it off. And now if I click this, it's going to take me straight to your pen that you're working in, right? So here's how scheduling is working. And it's always been this way, but I kind of just want to, you know, we want to make sure, well, it's all in Basecamp. But here's the thing I find when using Basecamp for this. It's like Basecamp's very kind of a wall of text, and people miss things, right? So I just want to make sure that we all understand how this works. So here's today, and we're on Tuesday. Wait, yeah, it is Tuesday, right? So on Thursday, that is basically your deadline for the lab. So I'll put a little exclamation mark, right? Now there's a reason why it is on Thursday. It is this. I want to make sure that you get feedback on your work. If I get your work, you know, Monday before the next class, there simply is no time to look at your stuff. Even if I went 24 hours straight, I wouldn't get through it all. Okay? Exactly. That's right. So whatever you've plugged into the tool is what we will be looking at on Thursday. So the only caution that I would mention there, which hit a couple of people, and I am working on some features for it. If you fork the pen that you're working on, I won't know about it, right? There would be no way for me to know that you did that. So if you fork your work and you do it in another pen, just make sure that it gets back into this pen that you've submitted, because that's what we're looking at. So fork away, you know, fork as much as you want, but just make sure that you roll it back into that pen that you've given me. This is kind of like, you know, when you are launching an app or a site, it's a similar idea. You know, you would fork it, you would make lots of different versions and stuff, but at some point, you got to put it in the production version or the one that is live. So we're kind of simulating that with this. So that takes us to Thursday, right? And by the end of Thursday, you should be getting the feedback if you participated. Okay? So what does participating mean? Well, the easiest way is be in class. You know, you can do it pretty much everything in class, right? Now, when you get the feedback, we are going to try and give you something to do. Sometimes you might look at that feedback and say, this is so little and stupid. Why is it even in here? Here's why. Because I want you to look at the code again within 48 hours. If you get some little piece of feedback, you're going to be forced to look at that code again. And it is a fact that you will retain things much better if you review what you did in class within 48 hours. This is why we set this day on Thursday as so important. Does that make sense so far, what I'm saying there? So it's not going to be anything like massive or brutal to do. As I say, it's better to look in it frequently for a little while than to sit down for hours and hours and hours grinding. So that then takes us to Monday, which is the day before the class. Okay? So yesterday, basically, we will go back to look and see if you actually implemented the feedback. Okay? So you've got that time between that Thursday and that Monday. And I mean, there's lots of ways that you can respond to the feedback. One of them, which I really like, is when you say thank you. You know what I mean? Simple little thing. If you get some feedback and you say like, oh, thanks, you know, like that's much appreciated. Because some of you would have noticed that your feedback didn't come from myself. It's coming from Devin or Adam. You know, these guys are professionals. And they're taking their time from their paying work. Well, I mean, I guess technically I pay them to do it, but you know what I mean? They don't have to do that. It's something that they're doing because they're invested in you doing well. And you know, I also review the feedback that they give you. I look at it all to make sure it's on board. And I must say I'm very happy with it. I think they've done a very, very good job with the feedback of giving you a good amount of specifics, not being vague with it, giving you specific things that you can do. That's what we're after. So when we return, we kind of have to be specific in the feedback because when we return, we're checking to see if those specific things have been done. So for us, you know, the Thursday and the Monday are a big day, and obviously Tuesday is a big day for me because we kick it all off again. We repeat the cycle. All right. Okay, any questions on that?
So even though we entered one inside the beginning,
Yeah.
you'll be able to submit one on top of that. And you get that fresh one?
Not yet, but I have Adam working on a feature for that. I showed him your feedback on that. So what we're working on to do it, we have to set up an automation on a server that will basically say that anytime between Tuesday and Thursday, you can update that URL, right? So when we get that in place, then you'd be able to change it right up until the time that we look in it on Tuesday.
But for now, in the past, you put in a fork, you put in a fresh fork in there.
You cannot. No, whatever you put in at the beginning is locked right now. Yeah, but I hear you on that one. I think that'd be a good feature for us to implement inside of here. Other fun new things, this guy. So that's the stream, right? So we're streaming right now. If you were somewhere else, I wouldn't suggest do it right now because let's not cripple our internet. But if you're somewhere else, you could just click on that, and then that's the stream. You can bring it up full screen or whatever you want to do. So that's pretty good. The pen that I'm going to be working in today is linked right here. And so that'll be the case, you know, for all the labs that we do. So it's, you know, kind of centralizing everything all together. I'm working on a feature right now. I can record grades in here as well, but you won't see it yet. That's one of the upcoming features that I'm working on. So then basically you would be able to go click through any of the labs, see what you submitted, see the feedback link right there, see the grade that you got, see the lesson we did, as well as all the code. No applause? It's pretty good, right? I think it's coming along pretty nicely. Yeah. So I've got ideas for a bunch of features on there, but just the other thing I kind of wanted to point out from this is like you're seeing an active software development unfold that you are participating in. So I'm not just teaching you guys this stuff because I read it in a book or watched a tutorial. I build this stuff every week, right? And sometimes we build it for some pretty big clients. So I would really encourage you to just kind of watch as this develops. You saw last week that I was doing it in CodePen. And we'll do that very frequently to get the basic idea down, because it's such a nice, simple way to get working in. But now that it's starting to get a bit complex and a little bit too much for a single pen, I'll show you quickly the tool that we use. Let me bounce over into...
What kinds of code is that you made? The leaflet?
Yeah, I'm going to show you right now, actually. Yeah. Oh, let me point this at my face.
How much code do you think? 300? I would say 400, 500 lines.
I'm actually not too sure how many lines it is right now, just because I've been working so damn fast with this. I'm basically ripping on the thing. But I'll show you, because I think this is worth looking at. So I'll show you, let me bring up the CodePen version first off, which is still available. You can still see it. Yeah. So like here's the CodePen version. And you can see that my JavaScript's starting to get fairly long in here, right? How many lines are we up to? Boom, boom, boom. 300, 305, right? When it hits about 300 lines, that's when I start thinking it's getting a bit much for this tool. So I'll show you where I take it to. So let me bounce out of here. I don't know, a long time ago I read that 300 lines is about as much as you can sort of carry in your head before it starts getting... Yeah, human brains can't brain after that point. So, so here we are in another one called Cloud9. And this is the project. But you can see that this is a little bit more sophisticated IDE. It takes a second to spin up, but what? Oh no, Cloud9, don't be down.
That's the only issue with that code, with that software. I think now you're not.
You try it again.
If you get the paid version, they teach you better for something.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully they're not going to let me down right now.
They give you a little bit glitches and then...
Yeah, here we go, right? So this is like a full-on IDE. It's similar to like your Dreamweaver or Sublime Text or WebStorm or anything like that that you would use. So I'll just point out a couple of things real fast. Over here, you can see that I've now got all of these folders, right? And each of these has inside of them one small little piece of code. Like a lot of these are not big at all. I built this project with using a framework called Angular, but you can see like this is pretty small. But I'll still break it up, and the folders are basically there to organize the code by what it's used for. So these little factories, they're producing objects for me. Filters, this top order filter, it's the one that's in charge of ordering that student list. So you noticed when you came to it, you're at the top of the list. It's not because you're special, sorry. This little guy is filtering and saying like, oh, let me put whoever just logged in to the top here. So when I log in, it's saying, oh, you're an instructor, let me put your students to the top. So it's basically filtering it based on who's logged in, which is pretty cool, right? So I just wanted to kind of show a quick overview of that. And this is what is actually living right now at leafletlearning.com/alpha. Yeah, so this kind of thing, by third semester, you'll be doing some of this stuff, you know? So you'll be able to make these really useful kind of software like this. And we'll start using some of those tools like Angular and so forth. And that secure login, I'll be showing you guys how to make that. So you could build something where you can get a registration of people, you know, or secure your information behind a login, things like that. Very essential stuff for building an app, you know. You're almost always going to need some kind of authentication to build an app well. So let me bounce out of that. That's just news and stuff that's going on and why I'm building this tool and how we're using it. I think it's, for anybody arriving late, we did watch Jerry Maguire show me the money at the beginning. You missed out. Your homework is to watch Jerry Maguire without fail. All right, but this is looking pretty shiny and new here.
Should we make an account in Cloud9?
It's up to you. We won't be using it right now.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll be staying inside CodePen for this semester. Next week is the what's it called? Yes, reading, studying. Yes, that I have yet to meet anyone do during that week. But that basically means that next week we're sort of at the halfway point for this semester. I would say we're doing pretty good. We didn't get quite as far in the last lab as I had hoped. And when I was watching the stream afterwards, I realized like we were doing a lot of debug and a lot of getting stuff working that was actually from previous labs. Today I'm not going to do quite as much of that because I've got a couple of goals that I really want to get through. I want to get these two functions, which I'm calling show me the money. So this one is show me the money for this guy. And this one is show me all the money. That's what we're after. We're going to make those two. We're going to make them inside of the project status class. And when we get that working, the project information area is complete. And we'll proceed to the next section down, which shows us this nice list of backers. Now, to do all of that, we need to make use of what they call iterators or loops. So I see we've got 18 submissions so far. Any else of you guys getting in here? Yeah, shoot.
When you're making changes to your code, to your pen, and make a mistake, things go wonky, you click in the box to type the code in, and then go Control Z to go back to undo it. Is that how it works?
Control Z does work. You can undo with Control Z.
One little thing and the whole thing disappears, which is whatever.
Yeah, you can Control Z. Yeah.
Control Z, that should be fine.
Yes. Yeah. And you can do it multiple times. It stores history. Still waiting on a few folks. This is getting pretty good. Oh, Terrace. What's up, buddy? Give you a link, bro. Show love. It's kind of awkward if you don't share the link now. Because I'm like, hey, how's it going? So, it's for your own good, right? It's for your own good. Kasha, gotta get in there, man. So you're gonna go to leafletlearning.com/alpha. And the same as you did last week, you'll log in with the same email and password. Yeah. I know. I have other priorities. I will get to it. And you put it in Basecamp, so you can always say, Tim, you didn't do this. So,
I posted, like, I separated as you suggested.
yes.
So I posted the last classes one.
Okay.
Not the bigger one. Is that okay? Or do I put them together?
Do you have the number of backers showing up? Then use that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're going to continue from that.
Fix it? Because I posted the wrong one.
Give me a note in Basecamp. I'll fix it. I don't have a thing yet.
Okay.
Hopefully by next week, I'll have that working.
But I replied yesterday to say I got it. So I put both.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it.
So just to refresh your memory, you're taking the one that you did last week, which the main thing that you needed to have working from last week was the total number of backers showing up, all right? So a lot of the feedback that went out was, advice to get that total number of backers working. That's one you're after. You're gonna fork that and then stick that in here. Yeah. Just so you know, this mic's live. This microphone is live, so.
When I
Yay, that's good.
the total house to work,
Uh-huh.
it shows two because
Yeah.
I had added like two people here, right?
Exactly, yeah, that's
Like
perfect.
Fabiana and Fernando. But why do I need to put this number here as a total helper?
Technically, you don't. We just put it in there so you can see what your style looks like.
Yeah, because now it doesn't matter because this is not showing.
Exactly. It's just going to overwrite that
Can
stuff.
I delete?
You could, but like I usually keep it in there because let's say I want to make big changes to the JavaScript, then I would still at least see something there.
Ah, okay.
So-
Because if here this is not working, it's gonna show this.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah. So something at least would show up.
If I want
But it's
to-
up to you. You could get rid of it if you
But
if you
if
want to.
I put someone else here,
Mm-hmm.
and I put the amount
Yep.
and someone like another person, it's gonna change here and here.
It should. Yeah. This is the one we're getting working today.
Ah, okay.
So,
it's not working.
Not yet.
Ah, okay.
Not
'Cause
yet.
I thought mine
But
was
pretty soon.
wrong. Okay.
Nope, nope. That looks great.
Okay.
Yeah.
This part here that we did last class, is it supposed to be next to this one? Or no?
That can all go away. I'm going to actually remove that out of mine right now. It was just that one-time exercise, so. All right, so let me get my, oh, I saw you fixed your spacing on there. Some margin or, nice. All right, so why don't we get into it, guys? Let me jump on into my session and share it out with you here. So we're on October 18. I'm going to go into professor mode here. Let me grab this link and send it out to you. Okay, so shared session is coming at you. Show me the money. I love the black man. It's a good movie. Mm-hmm.
I put the same password inside.
Oh, it would be whatever password you used last week. So it might not be the same as your Basecamp password. If you forgot it, click forgot password.
Yeah, I clicked that
And you get an email?
the email, but it says the link already used. This one,
Yeah, reset your password, yeah.
last one.
Uh-huh. And yeah, click on that. New password. Oh, it's working. This time, don't forget it. Great, cool. Okay, so now you should be able to use that. And you're at the top, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, and go to lab 6.
Lab 6.
Yeah.
Oh, submit lab.
I should make it so it goes to the most recent one. Yeah. Good. Yeah. So that's at least one confirmation that the forgot password works. Question?
This is like really little things driving me crazy.
Sure,
but
yeah.
I can't get my information to show up here. It's showing the default text.
Okay.
I had it working in an earlier version,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't see any difference between what I've done 2 times.
Okay.
And I can't see the difference between yours either.
Let me check something real quick. Let's bring up the console. See if it gives us any hint. Ah, tester. That's what's going on. So somewhere down here, there's still an instance of tester. I'm guessing, right here. Let's get rid of that one. There we go. And then that means this should be changed to data.instance.
Like, the key on this keyboard
Here,
doesn't work very well.
check this out. Down here, data.instance. Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's basically 2 classes ago, we updated it to a singleton. So now anytime we want to get the data, we use data.instance. I'm going to have to continue on. That's like a couple classes old. Yeah, sorry. But if you post in Basecamp, I can help you out. Okay, guys, we got to continue on here. All right. So from the last class, the main thing that we were after was showing this 2 backers here. Where's that coming from? Well, that's real data now. Because if we look in the backers, I've got Bob, I have Felicia, so it's 2 of them. Now, in order to make that work, we used a little technique called Object.keys. Let me write that down, because this one gets used all the time. Okay? Object.keys. What this does is it gives us all the keys, but none of the values for an object. So here's what I mean, right? We may have this guy Bob inside of there, and then we've got some information about Bob, like his age is 50, and his height, you know, and he's like 6 feet tall, something like that. But when we say object keys, we will just get the name Bob. So what it gives us is an array of just the keys. So if I've got Bob and I've got Felicia, you know, this, if we say object keys on this object, it's a really good way for us to find out how many backers there are. It's really simple. We don't even have to make any loop or anything like that. It's going to do the work for us. So from that, if you take a look in your project status, let's jump into project status. We're going to keep working on there today. All right, project status. So in here, we have this get total number of backers. And we're using right here the object keys. Now look what we're doing inside of the round brackets here. So you guys will remember, when we say data instance, that's our data class, right? We made that a singleton like 2 classes ago. So anytime we want to talk to that data class, we now use data.instance, which makes it pretty convenient because now we can call any function in there. So in this case, we're saying get all backers. So let's take a quick look at the data class just for remembering how this works. Here's our get all backers. And what's it giving us? It's giving us the object called backers. So if we look up into our data here, there's backers. So it's giving us all this. So we are now basically saying, you know, give me just the keys from this object. So what are the keys? The names, exactly. So we're getting back an array with Bob and Felicia inside of the array. It does not. It takes all that away and it just gives us their names. So then down here, back into our project status, right here, we are essentially getting all their names. And then we're saying, give us the length of that. Length tells us how many items are in an array. It's a very simple thing it does, but very useful. So what we've done is said, okay, give me all their names. Now count how many names there are and tell me that. And so this comes exactly 2. So this tells us very simply how many backers that we have. Now, this is a nice introduction to what the Object.keys does for us. We're going to make a little more use of that because we have to get just a little bit more sophisticated now. Here's why. Take a look at the pledges. We need to work with the pledges a bit now. So here's Bob, right? And he's got 1, 2 pledges in here. But he could have, you know, he could have pledged 5 times, or 10 times, or 20 times. I hope he did. I'd like to take his money, right? So what we need is something that can go through this and calculate up all the amounts that Bob has published for us, or pledged for us here. That's what we're going to work on right now. So you're going to go into your project status class, and we're going to start work on a function in here. Yes, exactly. So we're going to do a very similar thing that we did for getting the total number of backers, but now we're going to go into one of those backers to do it. And we'll be able to use that to get his money. Yeah, that's good. You got the right idea, man. So let's go down to project status. And we're going to make a new one. Let me just check my notes real quick here to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. So this as well is going to be a static class, or static function, sorry. And I'm going to call it get total pledges by backer name, which is long, but descriptive. So let me put a little note for myself here about what this will do. It's going to give me the total money of all the pledges for one person. Now just to let you know where we're headed here, it's this right here. This isn't dynamic yet. This isn't true. We're working on this, but we're doing it in steps. First thing, we're going to see if we can get how much money one person has given us. And if we can, we should be able to make a loop to get the total amount. Once we have that, we can stick it in here. And I think all you guys know how to do that at this point, right? In the renderer. Wait, did you say renderer? Dude, just say, be like, yeah. Correct. We'll update the renderer. So once we have the info we need, we're going to make a little update to the renderer so that it will render this out the same way it's rendered this and our title and all that stuff. Okay, let's do step 1. Step 1, get the pledges for this person, AKA show me the money. I'm just going to keep driving that home. This is how I remember stuff, guys, with pop culture. I can't help it. It's like, it's the only way I remember stuff, through movie references and comics and stuff like that. So fortunately, guys, we've already done the hard work on this. I'm going to say let pledges equal. Now we're going to go into the data and call get pledges for backer by name. And we'll give it that name. We're lucky here. We already made that because the backer level needed it. Remember that? That's like 3 classes ago, I think. But we made this thing called backer level. And it sets people to gold or silver or whatever. Now to do its job, it needed to be able to total up how, the person's donations. So. So this is going to be calling the data class to get that information for us. Let's take a look at that. Your spelling might be a little different than mine, so maybe just be careful. Let's go up. Yes. Yes, because if we look in the data class, here, let me do this. If I Control C on that, and then I Control F, I can do a search for that. And see right here where we're using it in the backer level. And then if we look for it in the data, boom, there it is. Yeah. So it's whatever you called that. If you called it the same thing I did, then we're all good. We'll just have to be a little careful with that. Okay, that's step 1. Now, we're going to need a loop. And for that loop, the first thing I'm going to do is make a counter to add up the monies. I'm going to call it pledge total. We're pretty much set to move on to step 3, which is to loop through the pledge dates, getting the money. Yeah. So now is when we get to use our object keys. So let me just scroll up for a second here so we can, what's that? Because we're going to start at 0 and we're going to increase it each time we come across a pledge. Yeah. So those pledges we're looking at right up here. When we call the data instance, it's going to give us this. So just like Mike was mentioning there, our keys are now going to be like January 1st, January 15th. So we're going to loop through those dates and get out the amount and add it to that pledge total. And when the loop finishes, we'll know how much money this person donated. So let's do it. Back into the project status. And let's go Object keys. What's that? Yeah, I didn't say step 2, but yeah. So, step 1, let's just get the data. Step 2, let's make a little variable to keep track of the money as we go through the data, finding out how much. Now we're going to actually start going through it. So the first step, we're going to say Object.keys, and we want to go through the pledges. Now here's where it gets fun. I'm going to say dot for each. Now in the previous class, we did one of these little for each loops. We did just a little simple one in our exercises that we did with arrays and objects and so forth. What it allows us to do is to make a function that can get each one of the elements in this collection and do something with it. Let me show you how it looks. You're going to put round braces, and now you make the function that receives the key. Boom. So take a second, make sure you're getting that okay. So what's going to happen is that this little function that we've nested inside of here is going to get executed once for every key in the pledges. So in the pledges, what kind of keys do we see in there? The dates, exactly. So January 1st is going to be a key for Bob. January 15th will be a key for Bob, right? So we're basically, at the end of the day, we're saying, let's go through this thing by date. That's what we're doing with this. Okay? Getting there. We're not too far off.
Slowly but surely.
Okay. So now that we're inside of one of the dates, let's do this. Get the amount pledged on this date by this person. Now we're getting really specific, right? It'll look like this. We'll say let pledge amount equal, and now let me just finish typing this sentence and we'll talk about it a little bit. Pledges, square bracket, key, dot, amount. Now let me talk about what we're doing right here. All right? What we've said here is go to the pledges. Now pledges, it includes all the pledges for this person. So January 1st, January 15th, however many they made. But now we've got a key. So the first time this loop runs, that key is going to be the first date, January 1st. So when we say pledges, square brackets, key, we're saying go to the pledges and go into the January 1st one. Now all we have to do is tell it what we need from it.
Sorry, Tim. Why is the brackets square in that one, pledges key?
Because these are the, yeah, that's a good question. Like, these are the accessor, basically. So we've used these square brackets with arrays, where we could put a 0, 1, 2, or like an index number to get an item out of an array. But you can actually use them with an object as well. But what you put in is not a number, it's a key. Yeah. So it's like an array. Yeah, that's the first time we've done that, I think. So, yeah. Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
Is that kind of what we're doing? We're calling on that key, kind of like say, see this one, but go to this one afterwards?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And what it will give us is the value for that key. Yeah, you got it, man. You're on fire. It's 2 for 2.
You have to tell it to add it in afterwards?
Exactly. Exactly. So, very next line, pledge total plus equals pledge amount. So now you see why we made this pledge total up here. Because we want to add to it for every donation. That's done. No, it's not done. I'm sorry, it's not done. I always forget this last thing. Right down here, after that loop has run, return pledge total. We have to give it to the person who asked for it. I always forget that. The reason I forget that a lot is because other languages are more strict about that. And when you make the function, you have to specify that it's going to return something. And then if you forget to do it, it throws an error and makes you do it. But JavaScript didn't like that, so it's a little more loose. That is good to go. That is functional. Should we test it? Maybe we should test it. Because like, we could live dangerously. We could write 100 more lines of code and then spend the next 3 hours weeping and going back to find what we did wrong.
Mopping the tears.
Or we could spend the next 20 seconds testing it. Who's for testing? Yeah, okay. I'm just going to assume everybody is for testing. Yeah, let's do a console. So the nice thing with static functions that we've seen already is that you can call them from anywhere. So we can actually go all the way down to the bottom here. See how we did our console log here using project status? Why don't I change that and I'll say, show me the money, Bob. And right here, I'll call our brand new fancy function. Oh man, what did I call it again? Get total pledges by backer name, and I'll give them Bob. Got to make sure I put my round bracket on there. Hey, what's going on here? Why are you giving me grief? Oh, I need 2 round brackets because it's a console log. There we go. Okay, let me take a look in the console here. I'm hoping. Show me in the money, Bob, 200. Is that correct? Let's check. Let's check. Let's see what pledges he's done here. Yeah, 150 plus 50. Not bad. Not bad. But you know what? If we really want to test this, we should give him another pledge. I'm going to give him another pledge, maybe on February 1st, and see if it updates that to like the correct amount. That's the only way we'll really know. So let me go in here. I got to be careful about the curly braces, right? Got to put a comma. That says I want to put another item in here. And I'll give it a date of like February 1st. Right now, Bob is our best backer. But he is getting broke. So this time, he could only give $10. Yeah, maybe $5. Like, he's not made of money, you know? Hey, look at that, guys. Show me the money, Bob. $205 that we've collected from Bob. So that's pretty good, right? I say that's pretty functional. Now, as far as debugging goes today, guys, it may be a little rough, simply because, you know, I put this tool in place last week. I'm aware of that fact. But basically, I only want to debug the new stuff that we're doing today. So if you're having a problem with that, go ahead and pop it in the chat window. Otherwise, you know, if you're having problems with stuff we've done in the previous labs, you can probably find the answers in Basecamp in the feedback you've been provided. I'm only saying that because last week, I counted it up, and it was about an hour and 20 minutes that we spent debugging stuff from previous classes, which is why we didn't get as far as we should have. So, you know, use Basecamp, use the feedback, but let's keep making progress because we're like halfway through the semester now. Yeah. Yep. Toss it in there. I know your stuff was working because I looked at your feedback, so let's have at it. All right, let's see what Molly's got going on here. Oh, looks like maybe Typo Town. Let me click this thing here and see what it thinks. I think you might have... Oh, you know what, Molly? Oh, this is my bad. All this exercise stuff that we did, you can get rid of all of it. Yeah, all this stuff, that was just for last week, just to get us familiar. You can just get rid of all that. Remember last week we did those exercises at the top? Let me show you. Right back here, there was a bunch of stuff we did up top with the array where we said pop and push and shift and all that stuff. That was just for last week, so you can get rid of that, like how I've done here. Now let's see if we can figure out what it thinks the problem is here. I'm going to bet that maybe there's something in here. Why does this look a little funny? January 15th. January 10th there. January 15th there. That closes Felicia. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me do a quick check of the console here. I'm almost positive that it's like a little missing curly brace or a missing string or something like that. Why does this look a little funny to me? Something is weird. So there's the amount.
There's a comma.
Oh, comma.
Yeah.
Ah, boom.
Yes.
That's what it is. A comma. I felt like it was a comma. Just looking at it, I couldn't quite get it.
Comma was bothered.
Okay. I think that's what you need. And then something looks funny. See this error I have, Molly? Where it says get total number of backer name is not a function, which I agree with. I think we don't have a function called that inside of project status. Let's do a little search and see where that comes up. So it's get total number of backer. I'm guessing maybe it should be backers or something like that. But let's see. Oh, okay. I think you just spelled this wrong. Let's look in the project status and see what you called it. Ah, right here. Okay, so this is not quite done yet. Let's you know what? You have it up here inside of get total backered. So let's do this. Let's remove that get. Okay. And let's get rid of this one. And now let's call total backered. Oh, but this needs to receive the name, right? Because this is where we're going to tell it, oh, you know, give me the money for Bob or whoever. So now let's go down here and try that. No, total backered, right? Is that right? I think. Hey, Hey, check it out. Yeah. Let me give you a fork on that. So that's legit. That was totally about today's stuff. Oh, we have some customers. You can't spend too much time on debugs here, guys, but so I would say, you know, whatever I can do in the next 10 minutes, then we got to move on. All right, let's see. Get pledges for backers by name is not a function. Okay, let's search for it. Get pledges for backers by name. Okay, so you know what? I think it might be called something different. Sorry, who am I looking at? Is this Dana? I think it might be called something different in your data class. Let's see. Let's go up to the data class. And what have we got? We've got get all backers, get backer by name, get pledges for backer by name, get pledges for, oh, it's just a typo. You spelled it backers. See that? There's a little S in there. So hard to notice. Let's fix that up. Yeah, it's backer because we're saying give it to me just for this person. Yeah, that's the only thing. Other than that, you're all good. Let's take a look at the next. We're going to keep trucking along here. And win them. The banana gun. Let's see what we got. Okay, so it looks like from this little red guy here, maybe, oh, I'm guessing it's probably similar to what Molly had. Like maybe something wrong in the comma or the curly brace. All right, so let me do this. Let me just tab this a little bit to make it easier to look at. So there's January 1st, and there's, yeah, so I'm looking in Daniel, and I think, oh, you know what? This looks like it's in the wrong place. Yeah, let me take this, and we have to put it inside of Daniel. You know what I mean? So right here, where you've added the new one for February 1st, that has to be inside of Daniel. Yeah, see how there's this opening brace right here? And then it's January 1, January 15, February 1st, and that looks pretty good. And then this one is extra. So, hey, that looks pretty good. So basically just a little bit of formatting. Yeah. Yep. So right here, this is the opening of Daniel's pledges. See that? And see how it ends right down here? So if you want to add another pledge to Daniel, you must put it inside of those opening and closing curly braces. Now let me take a quick look in the console and see, is it showing me the money? Undefined. Okay, so there's something else there. Let's take a look at it. So right here, we're calling get total pledges by backer name. That's good. Let's do a quick search for that. Here it is. Okay. Get pledges for backer by name, pledge total of 0. Oh, it's missing the return. Oh, snap. This is the thing that I was mentioning, like I always forget. Check this out. Return pledge total. Yeah. And now Daniel's got 205 bucks. Yeah. That is the only thing. And I've done that a million times, so I can't fault you on that. I'll keep that open for a second, see if... What's that? Sure. Let's fork this. Fire it at you. There we go. Ooh, I'm almost out of time, guys. Let's see here. Whoa, who's Javiola? Oh, that's probably Jonathan. Yeah, Jonathan Viola, probably, right? Because I haven't seen him in the chat before. And I was like, has some random person on YouTube come across me? I'm not here to debug random people, but I think it's Jonathan, so. All right, let's see what he's got. Let's check it out. Oh, did I send you the fork?
Yeah.
I did? Okay, good. All right. So let me close out of there. Close out of there. I'm just going to close a couple of these so I don't shut things down. Oh, nice. We're up to 21 people participating. That's good. All right. Let's do a little console action here. So if you're watching, Jonathan, this is yours. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I know exactly what it is. See in the red there, how it has spelled object? We need a capital O. All right? That's what it is. Let me do a little search for that. I'm almost positive. Oh, no, that one's fine. Oh, right there, right there. See how it's a little O? Let's make it a capital O. Boom! Whoa, Bob gave us like 520 bucks for Jonathan's project. Okay, so Jonathan, that's the only thing you need is just a small typo on object right there. So I think you're all good with that. Let's bounce back here and let's take a look at Pietra. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, I was working a second ago, so let's see. Sometimes if a new thing is causing it to crash, it might not get to the code that renders your numbers yet. So it's probably not related to that. It's probably to do with our new stuff. So let's go to the console. Cannot read property Fernando of undefined. That's interesting. That's an interesting bug. Let's see. Let me find out. Whoa. Let me find out if. First thing I'm going to check is if you have a person named Fernando in the data. Yeah. Yeah, and he does have pledges, so that's okay. Okay. Okay, let's look at the new stuff. Get total money by employee name. Now let me do a search by that just to see if there is any typo in the function name. So get total money by employee name. Get total money by employee name. That looks fine. But we're asking for Fabiana, not Fernando. Interesting. So I think it might be this right here, because that's the only time we're talking about Fernando, right? So let me just temporarily remove that. Okay, so it's saying get money for employee by name is not a function in the data. So let's go up to the data. Might be just a typo. Get money, get money for employee by name. Do we have one called that? So right up in the data. Oh, no, you have this one, get score for employee by name. So let's use it. Yep. Yep. Okay, that's easier too. Oh, that's why Fernando wasn't working. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so let's make it money. Employee by name. Now this is looking at score. Oh, that should be money. Yeah. Yeah. Boom. So you're in pretty good shape with that. Let me fork that. I would say, maybe do a search in it for score and make sure that it is, you have no other place where you're using score. Yep. No. Darn it. Why do I never remember to spell it right? Pietra. Okay. Let's take a quick look at Nari. I'm going to have to move on probably in the next 5 minutes, so let me just take a look here. I'm sure we can find it. Oh, I did see a bug. Okay, so the first thing I got to say, keep that console open. If it gets really crowded and it's hard to look at, just hit the little button there and that will clear it for you. But usually you can get some pretty good hints about what's wrong here. This is something in the renderer, so I think it's maybe not related to what we're doing today. Let's take a look. So when you see that this little message can't set a property inner HTML of null, what it means is that one of your query selectors cannot find what it's looking for. Hold on. It's who am I? It's Nine? Okay. Yeah. So one of these guys, like maybe this one here, is not finding it. So let's look in the HTML, and let's look for some of these little attributes we're using. So one is called project goal, and yep, there it is, span project goal. So I think that one's okay. Let's look for project state, which is a paragraph. Yup. Oh, maybe one of these. That one looks okay. H2 project backers. So I'm guessing it's this one. Yeah, that's it. There's no attribute over here in the HTML called project days. So let me comment that one for a second. And there you go. So that gets rid of that bug. So you got a bug right here because there's no project days. It could be. But I'm going to leave that alone for a second because I want to see why it isn't showing me how much money in here that one of the person has pledged. So let me check the new stuff we're doing today. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, this does not have the new stuff we've done today. So basically, you are looking at.
I think the wrong ink.
Oh, the wrong one?
Yeah, wrong one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to shoot me the right one? This one here? Okay. Oh, that's good. So now we see backers. Good. And let's do a quick check. Okay, that's more like it. Get total pledges by backer name is not a function. So could be typo. Get total pledges by backer name. Yeah. So see how it shows it here, but it didn't show it inside of our project status. Oh, look it. Oh, it's a typo, Nari. Do you see it? Yeah. So let's try total. And there you go, Bob's 205. Simple typo. Okay, I think, did we get every, let's look at one more. Take Sunny. Let's see if we can find it real fast. Okay, so Sunny, we see the number of backers, but we're not yet seeing the amount of money. Let's go to the project status. And let's look for the new function. Okay, so basically, you're missing the stuff that we've done today. So you need to do the new function. This one right here. So basically this whole function, you need to add that to your project status. Then you'll be able to use it like I've done right here. So I'm gonna let you do that because that's our job today. Okay? Otherwise, you're doing okay. Okay, so we're going to move on because we need one more function. Right now, we can only get the amount for one person. But we can see that we need to see the total amount of the pledges. That's the exciting thing, right? You know, if I come to this thing, what's going to make me want to pledge some money to it? First, is it cool? Does it have a good video? So like the content's really important. But the next most important thing, have people already given money to this? It's a weird thing, isn't it? But we don't want to give money to something that nobody's given money to. Nobody wants to be first. But when we see, like, this is why you see a lot of Kickstarter projects, they don't seem to be doing that well for a long time. But then as they're getting close to the end, and they start getting some pledges, and then all of a sudden it just, wow, takes off. Yeah, because what happens is, like, through social media, the sites are looking at what projects are starting to take off, because they sort of want to break it like a story. It's exciting. And so, you know, the better you're doing, the better you're going to do, because more social media starts mentioning your project. And so it's really important, and it's kind of why we have made these numbers so big, right? How many backers, how much money? So let's work on the second function that we're going to need here. And I'll tell you in advance, this second one is actually going to make use of this first function that we just made. So we're going to keep working inside of the project status. And we're going to make a new one. Let me just bring up my notes real quick so I don't miss anything. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to say static again. But this time, we're going to use that keyword get. And I'm going to call it total backed. Let me put a little note for myself. Gives me the total amount of money pledged by everyone. Yeah. Yeah, it's whatever makes sense for you. Well, backer is just what they call it on Kickstarter, right? Yes. Yes. So now I'm saying, give me the total amount backed. So a backer backs your project with money. So I'm saying, tell me the total amount backed, which is the total money. You could make it total money if you want, if that makes more sense. You sort of have to decide yourself. You can call it whatever makes sense for what you're doing. Yeah, I've kept saying backers and backed because that makes sense for what I'm doing. But if you want to, you've been using employees, so maybe it's like total employed or something like that. It's whatever makes sense. The main thing, you can call your functions, call your variables anything, but you have to be consistent about it. Yeah, so be careful you don't have that situation where you had score in some places but money in others. Yeah, this is where I use that search tool a lot. I use the Control F, and I'll just look for every instance of the thing I want to change. So. Okay, this is going to give us the key information here. So let's get started with it. I'm going to say let backers equal, and we're going to go to the data, so I'll say data instance, get all backers. Okay. Yeah. So let's just remind ourselves, what is all backers? Let's take a little look at that right up here in our data. So right here, this is all backers, So what are the keys in the backers? The names, yeah. Bob and Felicia are the keys. So we're going to make use of those keys again. Oh, look at that. I've got it in here twice. Get rid of that one because I started writing it earlier. Okay. So now we've got the backers, and we're going to say let total backed equal Object.keys for the backers. Now we know what Object.keys for the backers is going to do, right? It's just going to give us the names of the backers. So it's going to give us Bob and Felicia. Same thing that we've done for the pledges. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. And I will say, bear with me, because it's going to look a little nuts. I'm not going to lie. All right?
Let me breathe.
We're going to use, just before I do it, we are going to use something called a reduce. All right? A reduce. Yeah. So what a reduce does, it allows you to take any array that you have that has a whole bunch of values, and it reduces it down to one value, right? So let's say, for instance, you had a bunch of deposits to your bank account, right? So you had 50, 500 bucks, $1,000 or whatever, and you wanted to take all of those values and reduce it down to one value, like maybe the total. A reduce would let you do it. But total is just one thing it could do. Maybe you wanted to get the largest deposit you've ever made. A reduce can do that, or the smallest one, or the average of all of your deposits. This is the kind of thing you use a reduce for. Okay? So we are going to use a reduce to get the total of all of the pledges for everybody. Basically, that's what we're after. All right? So let me write it, and then we'll talk about the pieces. And I'll just say right now, reduces can be a little tricky to look at. You have to use them a few times before you will really catch on to them. But I say let's get one working. In the future, we can do a few more, and it will help explain how they work a little bit. Here's what we're going to do. So we've got the keys for the backers. We're going to say reduce, 2 round brackets. All right. Now we're going to use 2 parameters. One I'm going to call prev, one I'm going to call cur. This stands for previous and current. Look at this, an arrow. First time we've used an arrow function.
That's a pointer.
And then curly braces. Okay, so let me explain a little bit more about the way a reduce does its thing. So we've said, it basically takes a bunch of values and reduces it down to one, like the biggest deposit or the smallest one or the average one. The way that it does this is actually with a loop. But this loop gets 2 things. We've called it previous and current. All right? What it gets is, so here's my array of values. And here's my things inside the array. Now the way that a reduce works is it gets the previous item and then the next item, which we've called prev and cur. And then it outputs a new item. This becomes prev the next time it runs. So now it's going to take this and run the function and output an item. Now it's going to take this and run the function and output an item. You know? Don't overthink it too much. It's basically what we would say it's crawling through this list and taking the new thing that it encounters in that list and then running this function we're going to create to produce a new one, right? So it's kind of like, oh man, let's see, how can I do this? So, all right, I'm trying to think if I can reduce you guys somehow. Let's see. So the first time, I don't really have a previous item. So you become the current item. So I will say, tell me a number between 1 and 10. Okay, so you gave me 5. My logic is to say, take whatever you gave me and add 1 to it. So now I've got a number 6. So now 6 is my current item, and I go to you, and I say, tell me a number between 1 and 10. You said 8, so now I add 1 to that, making it 9. And now I will add my 6 to it. So I've got 15. Now I've got 15, and I come to you and I say, tell me a number between 1 and 10. So you said 3, I add 1 to it, making it 4. I add it to my 16, which means I've got 20. You see how that works? Right? So forget about code. Think of it like a game. It's kind of like a party game, right? So basically, this is my array, these people here. My job is to talk to each one of them, perform some little bit of math, take the amount, and then go to the next person and repeat that. Does that kind of cover? Do you sort of get what that's going on? You don't need to know the specific details.
But why do you add that one you have every time someone gives you?
Because that's my logic. That's the function that I do. Yeah. It's whatever function I'm programmed with. I could be doing subtraction or division or multiplying, anything that I want. You write your function to give you the result you're looking for. So if you were after the average of all these guys' numbers, your function would look a little bit different. If you're after the lowest number, you'd probably have something like an if statement in there, saying, is your number higher than the one I already have? Okay, then I discard your number and I move on. You know? So it's a way for you to go through all the values, running a specific function on it. Let me finish writing the code, and you know, I just want you guys to have an introduction to the idea behind the reduce. Okay, so at a simple level, the reduce allows me to go through each item in the array, running a little bit of code and getting a result. Then I take that result and I use it the next time that I go through the next person in the array.
Does the pointer point towards the location of the variable? Because I'm thinking a little bit operating system now, right? Or does it point towards the actual variable? The pointer.
This is called an arrow function. So not strictly like a pointer. I haven't shown you guys that yet. It's basically a way of saying function without writing function. There's a little more to it that I'll get to.
Is it still whole components of a pointer or no?
Not so much. It is in this case because it's a reduce. It's like a pointer, but that's getting way too complex. Think of it like a function. Yeah. So in this case, we're saying, here's the values for this function that we're going to write right now. I warned you guys this one would be a little bit mind-blowing, right? But let's just focus on getting it working. We can always spend a little more time on reduces if we want. They are very powerful. They are some of the more sophisticated code you can do. The reason they're so powerful is because with just a couple lines of code, you can do some really sophisticated things. I think there's one other place where we'll use it in this project. So not a lot. But I did want to show it to you guys. And it's handy for us here. So here's what it's going to look like. We're going to say prev plus equals number. And we're actually going to call that function we just made, which we called get total pledges by backer name. And what are we going to give it? The current name. Then we will say return number prev. I'm going to do two more things. Then we're going to test this to see if it's giving us what we want. If it is, we'll move on to getting it on the screen here. Okay? I don't want to spend too much time on Array.reduce today because it's something we could spend days on. I just want you to see how useful it can be. Then if you're interested in it, you can do a little more reading on Array.reduce. MDN, Mozilla's site, has some very, very good examples of reduces. Yeah. It's the guys from the Mozilla Developer Network. So they make Firefox. So this is important. This comma 0 that I'm putting at the end here is me saying start this loop with a 0. So I'm saying start with a 0, then add up the pledge amounts on top of it. And then, yeah, exactly. This is the default value to start with. The last thing, and I swear this is the last thing, return total backed.
Oh, wow. 2 returns?
I know, right?
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. Why is this giving me some grief? Oh, did I put this in the wrong? Oh, I just put it in the wrong spot. Should be right up here. There, that's better. Now, I'll just mention for you, Emmet, since you mentioned it here. This reduce, what's inside of here, is actually a function. When we say return, what happens is that the value output by this return gets put in prev the next time it runs. Yeah, so, yeah. And then here, we're saying return the entire amount. So this loop is looping through each backer, and then this is giving us the entire amount pledged by everybody. It's a little trippy, but I feel like I feel like we can slam the door on this one. It's probably working good. I'm going to test it. I'll give you just a second. Just be careful about your syntax on this. Check all your little commas and braces here just to be sure, because this would be an easy one to have something go wrong. It's a little more advanced concept here, but I feel like I wanted to show this to you guys. You guys are doing pretty good. You can probably wrap your head around this. Maybe not fully, but you'll see the result of it here in a second. Let me test it, make sure it's working okay. So let me go all the way down to the bottom. And I'll try and console log everybody's pledges. Now look at what I can do here. Total backed. And let's see. Oh. So it's telling me everyone has pledged $275 altogether. But notice something, guys. We mentioned this one time in the earlier class. Notice that I didn't have to do this. No round brackets. Yeah, it's that get, right? So if we look back in project status, it's this right here. When you put that little keyword in there, get, when you call this function, you no longer need the brackets here. You can just say total backed. So it makes it a little bit simpler. It also means that because there's no brackets, you don't have to worry about some kind of parameters getting passed in here that shouldn't be. That's why we use that one. It's just a convenience for us. We don't have to do it that way. But if we do it that way, then the way we call it is just like this. So let me add it up myself and see if this is correct. Should it be 275? Let's look at the pledges. So there's 50, 150, so that's like 200. Plus 5 is 205, plus 20 is like 225, plus 50 is 275. Is it right? 275. It's right. Yeah, it's working. Nice, right? I can almost guarantee you that if it is not working, you have a typo. Because we really have not written many lines of code, have we? We've got just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like about 8 lines of code. And that's all we've done. With just those 8 lines, we're able to get some really important information, all the money pledged by everybody. So take a second, open up your console and make sure, see if you see any bugs showing up in there. Let's just take a minute, because we're doing pretty good here.
Rec is not defined. Mine is not showing any values at all.
I think prec should be prev. I think you got a typo. Ah, yeah, prev. Nope, not ev. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That should help with that one.
Oh.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, you got it. Now, can you guys do something? Whoever's got it working, help somebody who doesn't. Let's see if we can.
I have a problem with unexpected token. These projects that have a problem. Mine doesn't show any value.
Okay. Yeah, let's fire it at me.
Oh, I know why.
Ooh, let's see. I don't think we looked at. Did we look at yours, Rachel? Did we look at yours, Rachel? I can't remember. Did we look at yours? Oh, should we? Okay, let's take a look.
I have problem not with this, what we have right now, but
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay. When I see this guy, I'm thinking typo. Oh, you know what I think, Rachel? I'm thinking that this is closing your class. So probably this is outside of the curly bracket, right? Let's grab it and move it inside. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. Let me grab this. Yep, and then I think, oh, this guy too. And then this guy shouldn't be here. I think we've just got some curly brace action going on here. So let me move this in here. And then I think this other one also, he got outside. So let me grab this. Get rid of this. Oh, looking better, right? And then move this in here. Yeah. Basically, you just had you had two extra curly braces, and then these guys were not inside the code block. So I'll show you like what I'll usually do when I'm going to go to make a new function. The first thing I like to do is I go to the class, I click, right? Because it will highlight the closing brace for me. See how that's underlined? This little one right here. So then when I see that, then I know I can write my new function here. So that might help you out with that one. Do you want a fork of that, Rachel? Let's see here. Let's see if it's showing me the money. Yeah, it is. Bob with his $200 right there. Shall we test and see if it can show us everybody's pledges? So to do that, we've now got this one called total backed. Let's go down to our console. Yeah, $270. Does that seem right? It's saying that all your pledges should add up to 270. Does that sound right? Oh, you're gonna make me do math, Rachel? Not a good idea. Let's take a look. So here's your pledges. So we got 50 plus 150 is 200, plus 20 is 220, plus 50 is, 270. But now I'm going to torture test it one time. Now I'm going to say that Felicia found out she has more money to give on February 12th. She comes back again and says, take my money in the amount of $200. Let's see. And now it's saying the pledge is total 470. So I think that's good. Do you want a fork of this? It's basically just some curly brace stuff. Do you want a fork? Okay. Now, I'll just point something out, guys. This is a lot easier to do because the stuff we've done previously is all working. Know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I'm finding stuff from a couple classes ago. So this is why we're making good progress today. I think we're going to even be able to get as far as the next section down here where we list out these backers, right? Because we're very close to updating this right now. In fact, if I were to tell you, as soon as you see the total showing up in your console there, can you get it showing up here? I bet you can do it. Because you've done it several times. Here, 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 right? I know you can, because you were the first, you got this working by yourself. So I want you to get the total showing up in here. Where it's all fake right now and says 1,200? That's not right, is it? We're lying. Oh my God, we're terrible. We're lying to people about how much money we've gathered. Because it should be 470.
Fake it till we make it.
Right? At least let's know when we're faking it. Yeah. So I want you to get this changing to be the actual total. That's your challenge right now. All right? There's two parts to it. The first part, could I just get the 470 showing up? That'd be great.
Yeah, of course.
But could I get it formatting it as money? We have a tool that lets us format money, right? We built that. We're using it right down here.
So we have to calculate all the money. But I'm a bit confused.
How much money have people pledged for your project?
Like $400-500.
No approximates. What is showing in your console?
Okay, 70, 75,
No, no adding. Show me from the console. The console should be telling you at this point. 275. All right. So I want you to show me 275 right here. You're going to be looking at your renderer. All right? Everything we've put on screen is all in the renderer. So, okay. All right. Did you shoot me a link in Thinger? Do it. Bring up the professor mode session. There you go. And open the chat. Yeah. Paste it in there. And hit the comment. All right. Let's check it out. You're getting too tense. Relax, man. Relax. Yeah. Okay. All right. If someone, okay, let me give this fork to Rachel. If someone is not seeing the number showing up, let's figure it out. That's totally legit. That's what we're all about today. Okay, so there's a fork for you, Rachel. Let me take a look in the hit list here. Is this a new one? Okay, so should I take a look? I'm going to take a look. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. We're doing well here. We're on track. Let me just close some of this stuff here so that I can not crash my computer. Okay, let's see what's up with the banana again. Let's take a look in the console. This looks good. Yeah, that's what you have to do now. Your next job, see how it's showing you 275? I want to see 275 showing right here. Yeah. So, yep.
Also, I want to ask, just, I think I was my data. Mine is not showing the text in the background. The text is not showing.
Which area?
You see the two? Two is the total background.
Uh-huh.
But the total background
Oh, okay. I can show you something for that. Let's do that. So there's a couple ways you could do it. The very simple way would be to do it inside the renderer. Yeah. So the place where we are putting that on the screen, all of our updates to the screen are all being done in this one called the renderer. So right here,
Yeah.
line 185. Yeah. So look at line 191. This is where we are setting the total number of backers. So what you could do, that would be really simple, you can just add some text to it. Just like that. And then you would see 2 backers.
Okay, yeah, sometimes the browser doesn't show that.
That would be a pretty simple way of doing it. You see, I just added onto it the text that I want. Yeah. I'm going to keep that open for a second and
When I put the backwards, the 2 is equal of the backwards.
yeah.
So how can I put the 2 in the
You want like a new line? So then in that case, I would say it's better to do it in the HTML. So let's get rid of that. Let's go to the HTML. And we'll look for your project backers attribute.
Total back, you need to put the brackets.
How did you search it?
Oh, Control F. Yeah. And there it is, right? So if you want, you could just put another piece of HTML. And there you go, 2 backers. So you could do it either way. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know where to put it. I'm debating right now. I'm confused. You're evil. Evil. Don't tell us though. I want to figure it out.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, don't tell me.
Nope.
No.
You'll get it.
Is it?
You'll get it.
Is it done?
While you're working on that, I'm going to look at another one here. Like lowering this space, you'll have to do it with CSS. Yeah, so maybe change the margin value on the H1. But I'm going to let you work on that. I'm going to move on to another person. Avirius. Who's Avirius? Who's that? Oh, that's a cool name. Okay, let's see. So we've got.
I understand the problem with the curly brackets.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Let's see if we can find it.
It's a constructor. You can go up. It's a constructor bracket.
Let me check this and see what it thinks is. Oh, something.
The problem with the
There's definitely something in here, right? Because I think this should be closing that. Oh, I think it's missing one. Missing one curly brace, I think. I think it should be like curly brace comma? Is that right?
if you go up to the constructor,
Yeah.
no, the up. Constructor and check the curly brackets.
Uh,
Constructor, you're gonna see
yeah, let's check that.
it should close.
Right, but it's not. Okay, let me try put one here. It's definitely some curly brace action going on here. Okay, let's check it step by step. So there's constructor, here's backers. This looks okay, because I see that closed. Let's check these real quick. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, comma, comma, comma. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. So something in the pledges here. Okay, so there's Boris, and there he's open and closed. That looks pretty good. Here's Katya. Katya, I think, is not closed. This, I think, needs a close.
Ah, yeah, I see. Yeah.
So is that,
Yeah.
yeah. So then let's check out Jora. He looks okay. So then what is this guy closing? That's the question. Pledges, good. So I think it's just missing a curly brace now to close the constructor like you were thinking. Oh, hold on. No, we don't close the constructor here because we need it in here. Yeah, okay. So what are you closing? Do we have an extra one?
I think it's up.
Backers, pledges. So that's closing pledges. So maybe it's this one? And what about this one?
If I get undefined, am I close? No.
Oh, I think you're missing the closing for the class. Maybe.
This one that you check right now was constructed. Now I need to close the class.
Yeah, let's see. Let's go all the way down. Nope, that's closed.
No class.
So I think that might be okay now.
Yeah, format 2 current.
Yeah, I think your class is okay now. Now it's something here. Oh, this should be return.
Yeah, let's show it.
There. Oh, did that do it? So I see the backers. Let's check the console.
Only first one. Only first. I didn't finish.
Yeah, you're really close there. Do you want this fork?
Yeah. Could you fork it?
Yeah. Really close.
Should you put the format to currency inside the total back function?
You know what? I think it goes in the static one. Static get total that.
I have a feeling too. Format to currency. I have a feeling too, but I'm not sure yet.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Or return.
Yeah, let's see what our good friend Nita is up to here.
Maybe. Maybe. God is this. Maybe. Maybe we can do it.
Hey, 22. Somebody just joined us.
Who's the winner?
We're getting popular. All right, let's see. Okay. So this is, let's take a look. This is something I think maybe not related to our stuff from today. One of these guys, it's not liking. So let's take a look in the HTML. We'll do a little searching for these and see if they're in there, because one of those it's not liking. Do you see what I mean, Nita? When we see that it cannot set property inner HTML of null, it's basically saying it's trying to set this inner HTML, but whatever is here, it couldn't find it. So the best way to check it is to start searching for these attributes and see if they show up in the HTML. Because I'm thinking maybe there's a typo in one of those attributes. So let's go here. Let's search for project backers. So what I'm checking is, does this spelling match this? And is it in a paragraph? And it is. So you're good. So that's why this one is working. So that's good. Let's look for project name. In an H1 looks good. Let's look for project creator. Oh, you know what? There's something a little funny here, Nita. When you use ID, you must put it in quotes. See that? So be careful about that one. Attributes, like this one right here, is an attribute, and so it doesn't need any quotes. But when you use ID, or if you use class, you need some quotes on it. But it looks like we might still have something here. Let's look for project goal. Do you think I will find project goal? Yeah, there it is. Oh, I see what it is. I see what it is though. You see how yours is using span? But it's actually in a paragraph. Yeah. So let me change this to paragraph. And then, okay, so we fixed that one. This lowercase d is worrying me because I think it should be uppercase d. Let's see where that is. Somewhere in here, there's like a lowercase d on data, but see how it should be uppercase? Like right here. So you got to find that data, because I think, oh, no, wait, you may be okay. No, you're okay on that one, because that's our variable name. So you're all right with that. Maybe this load data is not getting called. Nope, there it is right there. That stuff looks okay to me. Do. Why am I seeing data is not defined? Is there anywhere else we see data? It's not up here, right? One thing I would mention, Nita, all this stuff up here, you can get rid of it. We don't need that in there anymore. That was just for last week. But you have it in last week's pen, right? So, why is this data giving us trouble here? This is good. Data test trick. Okay, let me try something really quickly and see if that error goes away. Just for a second, I'm going to get rid of this spacker level here. And then if the error goes away, then we know that's where the problem is, right? Nope, it's still there. So it's not in the backer level. It's something else. There's somewhere that the word data is giving us trouble. Okay, let me try something else here. Let me put a little console log here. Now this is going to seem a little nuts, but it's helpful. What I do is I make this little console log, and I move it around, and I look for this hi Tim. So if I see that, I know it got this far. I can move it maybe to here. Wow, so it's something right in here. Something in the total backed. Because that's the only line after this hi Tim. You know what I mean? So it's got to be something with this line. So let's look in the project status at total backed and see what we can find out. Okay, so here's project status. Okay, you have the same problem I did. You have get total backed in here twice. So there's that one. But when I look down here, here it is again. Oh, there it is. There it is, Maneta. It's what I thought. Capital D.
Did you figure it out, TJ?
Yeah. So when you want to talk to the data, it's always capital D data dot instance. And then,
I need a little hint.
oh, and then this right here, this is a similar problem that Jonathan had. This should be capital O. Yeah, you got it. You knew. And then right here, where you've got project status, that should be capital P, right? Capital P, capital S, I think. So let's see where that is. Maybe down here? Nope. Where is that? Can you see it? I'm looking for project status, but with a typo on the capitals. Where is it? Where is it? Anybody sees it? Somewhere in here. Maybe in the renderer. Let's look in the renderer. Oh, there it is. This. So, you see, Nita? The capitals, they count. So, it's case sensitive. Pretty much everything counts, yeah. So now it's saying get total pledges by backer name is not a function. I'm betting that's a typo. This one right here, I'm betting this is maybe a typo. So let me do a search for that. Oh, look at that. There's a typo. It says get total pleads. Pledges. There we go. And yeah, there may still be a typo in here. Here, let me copy this. And let me paste it here. Copy and paste saves me.
Inside the query selector, you think, or it's in the function?
Do. It is throwing some error here where it's saying, oh, this should be plus equals. Still got some kind of error in here. Just while I'm working on this, has anybody gotten the total pledges showing up on the screen?
We need a little bit of
You got it?
Here the number showing below the signs.
Okay, okay. Halfway there.
A hint, a little bit of a hint. Should we put the format to currency by the query selector or inside the function of the get total backed function?
You don't need to do either. You can do it in the renderer. Because you're actually doing it in the renderer right now for the project goal, right?
So everything should be just in the renderer. But
Okay, let me find this one bug, then we'll take a look at it together.
Like, yeah, we put it in renderer, but when we add format to currency,
Yeah,
add the $sign, like, it changes the whole thing.
yeah, okay. Get pledges for backer by name of undefined. This looks, see how this spelling is different? where it's like get pledges for backer by name. Wait a minute. Hold on. Data instance get all backers. Where's it doing that? Get pledges for backer by name. It's that for that's freaking me out a little bit. Okay. Where else is this? Oh, typo. Data instance? Yeah. There we go. It's typo stuff, basically. We're in typo town. We're in typo town and we are the mayor. And we made a new law that there can be nothing but typos in typo town. But it's getting pretty close. You're almost there, I think. Let me fork this for a second here so I can go to town. Typo town. So, what's wrong with that one? What is wrong with this? Yes, exactly. You are exactly right. So let's find that one. I'll do a search for objects. Right there.
For example, right now I have like 1 million.
Boom. Show me the money. Right, let me give you this fork. So, I know you like to see me sweat, Nita. There we go. Just be careful. All right, who do we got here? Dana. Let's take a look at Dana. After this one, I'm going to update my renderer and get my total money showing up on the screen. I'm happy we'll get that working before the break. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm going to open the console. Now, I'll just mention very briefly, like CodePen does let you see the console down here. That's pretty sweet, I like it. But for my part, I kind of like to use the browser's built-in console. The only reason why is because there's these other things that I use sometimes. And I like to be able to flip over to like the elements and start highlighting elements to see them. Or go to the network to see, oh, maybe something didn't load and it failed, you know? But it's your choice, of course. This is working. Total pledges, 675. What? It's working down here? I think it's It's missing? Okay, so shall we just do it then? Shall we just get this formatted?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to use your example to get the formatting working. And I know it'll work because I'm doing it down here. So here's the benefit. We've been using this word static, right? And you may have wondered, like, why do we use static? When we use static, it means that we can call that function from anywhere. From any class, any piece of code, it's safe to use it. So that means that to get that formatting working, we should be able to do it from right inside the renderer. So let's go down to our renderer. Oh, one thing I'll mention as well, Nari, this stuff that we did up here, this exercise, you can get rid of all that. That was just for last week. So we don't really need it, so we might as well clean it up. Okay, let's go to the renderer. And let's see. So there's our total number of backers. And right here, this is our total backed. So you guys are going to hate me.
Don't. Really? Ah, really? Come on. My God, TJ, what the hell is this, man? But why did you do another project status for that?
Because I was adding I put a link in curly braille.
Because that's how we do.
Oh my god.
For life, I've been doing it. Repetition.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's a little weird, right?
Oh really?
But
Yeah.
we're basically now using, you know, two of our tools that are in the project status. The first one just gets us the amount, and then we hand it into the format to currency.
I was putting plus signs, bracket, curly brackets, this,
Yeah.
that. I tried to put it in up, like, you know, the.
I came close.
Yeah.
I just didn't add the project status. I did exactly that code, but without the beginning.
But like without this. Yeah, you got the right idea.
You have no idea how what I did. Oh my god.
That'll do it.
This coding discriminates people.
So let me go back to my professor mode session and get it working in mine as well. And then we'd take a break from JavaScript for a few minutes. We'll do a little setup in HTML. So going back to here. So I can see that my total backed is working. So you guys tell me, what's the steps? What should I do first here? For you guys who got it showing up on the screen? Okay, that makes sense. So let me go over here and look for where I've just got my little fake numbers. Right here.
I call it project money.
Project money sounds good. So I give it an attribute. So this is an attribute called project money. What next? Go to the render, yeah. So I could just copy this, right? Makes sense, because it's the same process here. Now I'm going to change this one here. Project money. There we go. And then I really just have to, so the first thing we did was total backed, right? So that should give me a number, like 275. So then to format it, yeah, and that, my friends, puts us in flavor country right there. That's pretty sweet. Number of backers, current number of total of pledges, of the goal. That's all looking pretty good. I think we can call that part pretty much done for the moment. So what I'd like to do is maybe step away from the JavaScript for a second. Hit me with a pen. I can help. Sure. Yeah. That's the main thing we needed to do today to get that working. The only other thing I'm thinking I'd like to do is just create a little bit of the HTML for this area under here. So we would be in a good place to get the whole page showing. Yeah, question.
I already did that, but mine is different. So I'll show you how it was. It was like that because I put like recipes received, and I did that because recipes received I put like in here.
It was already here.
Yeah, cool. In the project info, yeah.
So is that a problem? Because it's info, do I need to put like
Mm, it is different from mine. It looks, what you have here is good. Can I take a look at something?
some things are not working.
That all looks good. Okay, so let me look in the project status and see what we have. So this looks good to me. So this should be working. I think that's okay. Is that having a problem?
Yeah, if you inspect, it's not. It's saying that the number of bakers is not defined.
Ah, okay.
It's undefined.
Okay. Let me grab a chair and let's take a quick look at it. Is this chair free?
Oh yeah.
Can I borrow? Okay, let's see what we got here. So let me clear this, do a quick save, and a reload just so I can see what's up in here. Okay, total number of bakers, undefined. Okay. So let me get to the right place. Total number of. So it's in the project status. Get total number of bakers
By name.
name. That looks a little suspicious to me.
By name.
Maybe. Let's find out. Why do I feel like we have the wrong function name? Get total number. Get total number of baker's name. Oh, definitely there's something wrong there because that didn't show up under the project status class, right? I wonder if it's supposed to be this.
Total. Yeah, probably. I keep when you're doing, I keep changing, and sometimes I don't remember if I like pledges. I know they're recipes, but sometimes I get confused.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is what you want. Total bad. Does that seem right?
But 11 is the number of recipes. Is like the money, how much money we have. It's not
Yeah.
how many people helped.
That's fine, because this one should be the total money, for instance. If you want, because this is already working, right?
I hope so.
You have 2 bakers
Yeah.
that have contributed, and total baked is showing up as 11. This is actually correct. This is functional.
But I'm using this instead of like my husband was helping me yesterday, so you had a big code for to put the other symbol, and he just changed some stuff.
Right, so he changed the formatting because it's
Yeah.
not money anymore. That's cool. That's fine. This looks good to me. I think this is functional. Because you're saying you have 2 bakers. There's 11 recipes out of 50 that you're trying to get. So these 2 people have contributed 11 recipes, right? Let's check the data just to see that we're not faking. So Carl, on January 1st, contributed 3 recipes. On the 15th, 5 recipes. So that's 8. Wow, he's way better than Jessica. Jessica's only 3. So 8 plus 3 is, 11. This is perfect. Why were you so stressed?
Because yesterday took me so long. Like,
Yeah. But good thing you did it, right? Or today would have been hell. Yeah, good job. Well, why don't we take a little break? We don't have too much time. Okay, let's take a break, but let's not take a long break.
Yeah, like just 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's say like between 10 and 15. Okay? So one second. Just before we do this break, I will show you what I want to set up.
Total money here. But you calculated the total back.
This area, this is almost completely done. It only needs our button. So what I want to do, since we're doing loops, we're going to set it up for this section down here. Because this is going to be a loop that shows us all our backers in here. And that'll be pretty cool. This part over here is mostly all just HTML. So you can style how you want. You can put the information you want in there. The thing we're going to set up is the HTML for this area. So take a break, and then we'll hit that. Do you have something?
Every time that because like I'm trying to change the names to learn. Because if I just copy yours, I'm not gonna learn. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, Tim, because can you see that it's not working anymore? I tried to do this part, but I don't know because like sometimes I put helpers. But I'm not sure because I just changed it now for employees to see if work, but I'm not sure if it's the right
That could definitely do it.
because it was helpers and here was helpers, but I'm not sure.
That should be, it should be total employees because otherwise it won't find it.
Yeah.
Did that work? Okay. Let's take a look in the console. Maybe it's in the JavaScript. Let's see. That looks interesting. Okay, let me do a quick save and refresh just to see from the top what. This one? Yeah. Oh, we're in Safari. Okay. I don't think that's really a problem. This is just stuff to do with YouTube. These are like warnings because it's coming from YouTube. It's not really showing us any problems with your code. So.
But why is not showing how we want?
Yeah, good question. Let's find out. Oh, I need more room.
Yeah, it's too small. Sometimes I want bigger, but
I worry a little bit about using Safari because Safari is pretty brutal. It has some problems.
yeah, my only problem is because if I don't use Safari, I'm not gonna do at home. And if I need to do here in Seneca, like I just have short time. And it's the only way I can do at home.
How can we put the console like on the right-hand side?
I have no idea. Every time when I open, it shows right here.
Oh, maybe that one?
This.
Like the one beside? Hey! All right. Okay, that's helpful. So now let's check that console again. This looks pretty good. Okay, let's go down here. What's all the way at the bottom? Okay. Yeah, okay. See, if it couldn't find the query, then it would tell us over here. It would say like, couldn't set the inner HTML.
Right, the H3 and H3 and H2.
I think so. It seems like it.
Because I remember that I changed it a little bit here.
I think it's okay, just because I'm not seeing errors about not finding them. So I think that's probably okay. But why am I not seeing this console now? I'm not seeing it. We do see got the data. Oh, what is this? Oh, they're just showing you theirs differently. What is this? Assign read-only property. Okay, there's something in there. It's just very hard to read Safari's errors because they're like, you know, it's all cut off.
Yeah.
Can I expand it? Okay. So in the print project info to screen, print project info to screen. This. What is this? Data equal project data. That seems okay to me, right? Because here's project data. Print project info to screen project data.
What you say, TJ? Share space? Yeah, I got money.
No typos? Is it okay?
Yeah,
It looks okay.
Just control that money. Oh, see? Show me the money. I think you make a typo.
this one we turned off. Is like to be off.
It should be okay whether it's on or off. It's just setting his level, like to gold or silver or whatever. If we turn it on, it should still be okay. I cannot work in Safari. I'm gonna grab my computer for a second. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to leafletlearning.com, where you shared your pen. Yeah, so I can link to it now, which is cool. And it's good testing. All right, lab 6. I think you're one of Devin's people. It was Devin, right? Was looking after you. So she'll be giving you some help with this one too. She's really good. Devin is awesome.
Yeah, I saw. She was super.
Okay, so now that I'm back in my browser, oh, thank God. Let's take a look. Okay, now see, that's an error. I can read that, right?
Oh my god.
Can't find the inner HTML. So that tells me that your selector is maybe has some typo in it. So let me go to your renderer. It's one of these. So I'm gonna guess that it's probably this one, project employees. So let me do a little search over here for project employees. Aha, so when I searched, it didn't find it. So makes me think there's something.
Project project goal I have, project money,
Let's see.
project bakers. There it is here. Look,
Which line?
project bakers.
Oh. Project employees, like that.
Yeah, because I'm not using bakers.
Okay. Did that?
Should I change baker for employee too?
Wait.
Baker stats.
Actually, do we even need this here? Because isn't this the one we're looking to update?
But it's
Right.
project, no?
Right here. If we leave that, and then I think it's total employees that we want to change, right? Because it's the 30.
Let me.
Right here. I
These
think.
ones is okay if it's baker stats. Because I'm using employee.
It should be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think we're just doing some CSS with that one.
Ah, okay.
So where this says project employees, I think what you want is total employees.
Instead of project,
I think so.
it's total.
Let's see. Here, clear. I'm going to fork this so I can mess around a bit. Inner HTML. No, there's something it's not liking yet. Inner HTML. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go one by one, looking for these attributes over here. So the first one was project name. That one is there, and yeah, it's H1, so that's good. The next one, project creator. Yeah, it's an H3, great. This one, project goal. Aha, that's the problem. This project goal is looking for span, but it's actually in paragraph. So let me make this in the JavaScript paragraph.
You put here just paragraph.
Yeah, line 205. Okay,
Yeah.
so that one's better. Now let's check for total employees and make sure it's an H3. Total employees. Yep, and it's an H3. That looks good. Oh, this is in here twice. See that? Because this isn't looking
That's
for
why,
an
because remember that
H1.
I said I changed some things here.
Right.
Maybe I got twice.
Okay. So let me remove line 207. There we go. Okay, getting better. Now let's take a look for project money. Yeah, let's see if that's in there. Project money.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so let me save this fork and refresh. Good, good. Okay, so we got rid of all the inner HTML. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay, so this is getting pretty good.
But Tim, people are making this work too, right?
Yeah, that's what we got going today. So let's take a look at that. So we are getting this cannot convert to object. Okay, so pretty much everything we did today was in the project status class. Here, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this commented out stuff at the top here. Let's clean it up. Just clean that up a little bit. Okay, now let's go to project status. Oh, I see one thing. This one, this get total backed, is actually in there twice. See how it's here, but then it's also later on, like line 99.
Where?
See how we've got it in 99? Yeah. So we might as well get rid of that first one, because it can definitely cause a problem if you have the same function name twice.
Then you went to 69.
Line 71. Yeah.
And now you are different.
Yeah.
Because you deleted the beginning.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, right. That's why I was like, what?
So right at the beginning of project status.
Here.
Yeah, so see how you've got it there, but then you've also got it a little bit lower. So you could just get rid of that.
These or the other one?
That one, because that one's empty. And that little closing brace too. Gotta get rid of that. Cool. That's better. So that's looking a little better.
Yeah, this is the problem. Sometimes I make one thing new, but I don't know which one is exactly the same thing, but
Right.
another way, and then I don't know
Right.
what to delete.
Exactly. Now this looks pretty good to me. So right here we're saying get money for employee by name, and we're giving it the name. That looks good. Here's our counter, and then we're adding the amount to the counter and showing it right here. So I'm going to try and test this right now. I'm going to call it with one of your employees and see what happens. So let me go to the bottom here. It looks like you are doing it right
Yeah, I'm calling
here.
Fabiana.
Yeah. So there's something prior to that that's causing us some problem. Okay, so here's a dumb trick I like to do. This is going to look really stupid, but it actually works pretty good. I put a console with just something I can notice, like, "Hi Tim, how are you?" Right? Now I watch for that appearing. When I see it, I know that the program got this far without crashing. So now I move it a little bit further down.
To see if it's working.
Exactly. So let me clear that, save and just refresh real quick. Hi Tim, how are you? So it's getting that far. So it's something after that. So let me move it again. Maybe I can move it right here.
Yeah.
So our problem's in here.
But you're
Something
getting
going
one.
on. No, that's from before.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Here, let's be sure of that. I'll clear that.
Exactly state exactly.
I mean, it's a dumb trick, but it works pretty good.
Yeah, I never
So
thought.
definitely, yeah. So we moved it from here to here. So it's something right in there. Let's see if we can get a little more specific here. Oh, well, clear this for a second. Let's move it right here. So that was fine. So it's this one. This one right here is our problem. Okay, so let's see what we got. We have this one here. Let's try. So it's this. Something in that render. Okay, so let's go to the renderer, look for this one. So one of these guys. So let's try this. Let's comment it down, and then we'll uncomment them one by one to figure out which one is the problem. Did I get that in the wrong place? No error there. So that one's okay. Oh, that's a good catch. Why was that giving us a problem? Okay, actually, let's double check that. So that's saying not a number. So whatever it's giving us is not a number. So there may be something to that.
Why not a number?
Well, let's see. Let's see where we are calling that. So that is in the get total money by employee name, Fabiana. So let's look for that one. There it is. Okay, money equal that instance. Get money for employee name. Let's put a console log. For the money. Yep, so there's January, February. Oh, wait a minute. Why is Fernando in there?
Yeah.
That looks a little weird. Okay, let's hunt for that. So that's got to be up here in the data.
Yeah, totally. You gotta spread the word.
It's too hard.
Let's take a look in money.
This one is Fabiana.
Yeah,
And the another one, Fernando.
seems like it. Yeah. Let's check our curly braces. Oh, wait a minute. The curly brace is not right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because see how this is the start of Fabiana, but it doesn't end Fabiana. So Fernando's inside Fabiana.
Oh my.
I'm sorry. So to speak. Oh, Fernando, you. All right, so let's see if we can get that fixed. So here's the end of February 2, right? So then that means we should have a curly brace, and then we start Fernando. So then we might just need to fix Fernando. So that's the end of January, that's the end of Fernando. We might have maybe an extra one here. Look at that, that's better. No Fabiano anymore.
No, yes.
Oh, Fabian's money is 350. So your code was fine, just your data, the curly brace.
I know, this is
That's it, that's it.
Wait, then let me see if it's just this that I need.
I'm just walking, man.
Yes, look.
Ha!
Oh my God.
There you go.
Tim,
You got it. So you should feel good. Your code was okay.
One.
Yup. Yup.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. How are we doing on time? Yeah.
Yeah, we have to keep on time because otherwise this mental issue professor will show up.
Half hour, 30 minutes. Okay, we gotta get.
Okay, we've got a half an hour. We can do this. Yeah, it's good. Okay, so we're going to set aside this JavaScript for a little bit. And we're just going to set up the HTML for this area here. That'll put us in a good spot to basically finish up this page. So when we get back from the break, I want to dive into the kind of the second half of this, which is how do people make pledges, right? In the big finished version here, you can see that I'm currently logged in as Dave, who's one of the backers. I can click pledge. I can say I'm going to pledge $50, submit it. And if we look at Dave, he just became a gold level member, right? So all of that stuff, that's kind of like part 2 of this project, all right? Everything we're doing up to now is just to get things showing up on the screen where we can see the backers, we can see the money and so forth. But up to now, we haven't had any actual user input. There's nothing for the user to click on or do something. That's what we're going to work on after the break. So for the half hour that we have left, I just want to make the HTML that's going to allow us to get these little guys showing up down in here. Now the way that you do this, you have a lot of freedom on. If you want to show these avatar pictures or something, you can. If you want to change up the styles or the way it looks, that's up to you. So let's just get the basic code set up. All right, back into professor mode. Okay, so let's take a look at the HTML. If I click over here, this entire area here is called the project info. And from the orange, you can see that I've already got some margin set up around it to make some space. What we want to do is probably put a little margin on the bottom now so that we can put a section underneath of here. So I'll look for my class called project info in the CSS. So project info, there it is. So I have some margin top. Let me put a little margin bottom now. I'm going to say like 80 pixels. I want to make some good separation. So now we've got a little bit of space on the bottom. So let's make a new section. So here's a little trick, guys. Over here, if you look really carefully, there's a little arrow that I can use to shrink the div. That's super helpful for figuring out if you've closed the divs or not, right? So I'm going to close that so that I can make a new section. There should be a tiny little arrow beside the line number. Sometimes it's hard to see because the screen's like too much contrast. So I'm going to make a div. And I'm going to give it a class called pledge container. Remember to close the div. So this pledge container it's going to wind up having two columns in it. The first column is going to be to list out the backers, and the other one is going to just be a nice right-hand column where we can put some information about the goals and the stretch goals and things like that we usually will see. So let's go into our container, and we're going to make another div.
Inside the div, we're going to make another div.
Yep. That's the name of the game that we'll call the pledge area. And don't forget to close it. So finally, we're going to go in one more, and now we're going to make our two columns, basically. So the column on the left, I'm going to call pledge list. And the column on the right, so this second div that I'm making now, we call this a sibling of that first div, right? They're like sisters because these are at the same level right here. You know what I mean? This one's not inside it, so we call it a sibling. Because they have the same parent. So this div, I'm going to call it pledge types, because over there is where I want to put the information about the gold, silver levels, you know. All right. So this is set up pretty good. We can do a little bit of CSS work now. So one thing I did with the pledge container, you can see like I've created this different background color just to make a little separation in the sections. So to do that is pretty straightforward. We can make a selector for the pledge container. I'll give it a background. And what I'm using is just called EF. So if I give a little scroll down now, we won't see anything yet, but that's just because there's no content in there yet. So it has no height, right? When we start putting some content in there, we'll see that background color showing up. If we want to test it real quick, we could give it a height just to, here, let's go like min height. There we go. See how my color is showing up? That's what I'm looking for. I also want to set its width to be 100%. Okay, now remember I was mentioning that this div, the pledge list, we want it to be a column, and we want the pledge types to be a column, so that pledge types is here, and pledge list is here, side by side. So here's where my backers are, here's where information about the project is. So if we want to have these guys go side by side, we can use the flex box. We've used that a couple of times before. So the way the flex box works, if this is like my two columns that I want to have, so over here is going to be the pledge, the backers, and here's going to be the info. then what we have to do is have them both inside a div, and we add the flex box to that div. You know what I mean? Flex affects the children inside that div. So we've already set that up because we have this one called pledge area. So we're going to add some flex properties to pledge area to make them go side by side. Let's do it. So right here, let's select the pledge area. And we will say display flex. And then here's the magic. Flex direction, we're going to set it to row. Now, right now, we set the pledge container's width to 100%, and the pledge area is inside of that. So it's automatically going to try and be like 100% wide. I probably don't want that, right? I want it to be like a little skinnier to match up with my content up here. So why don't I give it a couple more properties? I will say width of 80%. And then if I want to center it in the page, our good old friend margin 0 auto. Now if you put a little bit of content in there, you'll see if it's working. So let me put a little paragraph in here like lorem tab, boom. Our magical lorem generator.
What you did again?
I just went like lorem and then tab.
Lorem tab.
Yeah. Pretty cool, right? Let's put some in the other column. So it's lorem tab. Pretty good, right? So we've got our two areas to work with here. Because we have this div called pledge types. That's this one. And then we've got the other div.
Oh yeah, I didn't add. Oh,
I have a little issue to work with.
because we didn't add in the other one. Which one did it? No, we had two there, right?
Yeah. So there's this one. Uh-oh. It is 3 o'clock. In 15 minutes, I must be out of this room. Yeah.
Lorem and tab. And then, like this. Just type in L-O.
Totally wrong.
No.
Neat, eh?
You're doing it the wrong way. This one you gotta
But the thing
Hmm.
is, like, they both are kind of merging. Like, you have a
It's true. It's true. So let's add a couple more properties. We have just enough time to set up some proper widths here. So here's what I want to do. The one on the left, I want it to be a little fatter, like a little wider. So that one I called pledge list. So for that one, I'm going to give it a width of 65%. You know, so you can play with those numbers to get what you want to see, basically. Let me throw a little border action on it just so I can see what's up. Maybe let me throw a little border up here too. Yeah. So basically, that is now set up for us to.
One, right? The pledge
No.
is for the left one.
Say again.
The pledge, this one, dot pledge is for.
Yeah, that selector is for
The pledge.
pledge
Okay.
list.
Oh,
Right there.
okay.
And then we could also add properties to pledge types if we want. So what we're going to be working on when we come back is to get rid of this lorem ipsum and have a nice little, list of all of our backers with some nice styles on it. And then basically the other column is pretty much just static HTML with the exception of one thing right down here. So I'm going to show you guys how you can show how many backers there are for a certain level, right? So that we can say, oh, there's one bronze level backer, there's one silver, and 3 gold, that kind of thing, which is pretty nice to see, right? So what's cool is that when we get to the point where you can actually do these pledges with people, you'll see that they move these numbers. Like if this guy at the bronze level pledges a bit more money, well, he probably goes up to silver. So you'll see his, level change here. You'll see backers go down 1 in the bronze and go up 1 on the silver as soon as he crosses that threshold. So
The pledge type won't work in CSS. They're gonna put pledge types. This is not working. This one.
my advice would be fix it. You got some typo then, man.
It's supposed to be purple and it's yellow. Because in my border from this one,
And then picked up the wrong.
my border from the money list is
Yeah.
okay. But when I try to write different, like again, and it's getting yellow. I don't know why.
It looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. No, they're both green, right? They both say green.
Yeah, but the border, the thing is like.
Oh, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Sometimes
But
it
it's not
screws up.
getting, look. Not coming the green. Because it's not.
Then I wonder if the div is closed. Or maybe the paragraph's not closed. It's closed. I think this is missing one closing div. The one for, because if you look up, or the slash. Yeah, in fact, it may even be missing 2, because these 2 columns, they're inside of 2 other divs, right? So if we take a quick look. See that? So we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. That was good. We made really good progress today. Okay. So hold on. so I gotta go because otherwise the other dude's gonna eat my face. Like I'm not kidding. He's anyway. So we will be checking again, right? So today's Tuesday. Thursday we'll be looking. So whatever pen that you entered into the tool, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. So watch for your feedback that day. I can't say an exact time it will happen during that day, but you'll get it then. So do check it out, because then we'll be taking a look again on the Monday. Even though next class is reading, like next week is reading week, I hear. So we won't be here, but we will still, look at it and help you out with any problems you have. All right. So if you came into today's class with your stuff not working, and I couldn't help you with that, do go check your notes. And if you have some problem, post a question about it, and somebody will help you out. Post a question in the note, like in the thread where you got your feedback, because that'll help the person remember what they were trying to show you. Sounds good? All right, good. We did good today, guys. Good work. You are most welcome. We'll see what kind of exciting new features we have.